This factory supports 2 million people from Kakamega, 1.8 million people from Bungoma, 890,000 people from Busia.
That is the giant that Mumias Sugar Company is, but one that has been losing height fast in the last few years, shrinking lower than the tallest dwarf to court death. And while this financial shrinking has brought about a lot of debate on whether it's the government's responsibility to pull it out of the fire or not, the question that everyone wants answered is, how did it get here?
Where was the government when this company was incurring such debts?
Well, the government was watching, it says, offering help in small ways such as intervening at management level, but the miller only slid further into debt. Mumias Sugar Company is the largest of the 11 sugar millers in Kenya, with a milling capacity of 8,000 tons of cane per day. But years of poor management, a bloated wage bill, flouting of procurement rules and sheer theft and fraud put the company in the red, reporting successive losses of more than R1 billion shillings annually. All this was documented in the KPMG report released last year. By last year, the miller owed a total of 10.4 billion shillings to farmers, lenders, Kenya Power and the taxman.
I belong to a group of farmers. They call themselves Mumias Lobby Group, covering Matungu, Mumias East and Mumias West. And they are just trying to come together and say, look, things are not doing well in the sugar belt. What can we do? And we tried to establish how many farmers had not been paid as of at May, and then how many had DRs. So we were able to get close to 600 farmers who got DRs, and quite a big amount. And most of them, we remember when the president was around, when he brought the 1 billion, he was very categorical that these debts should be written off.
We're looking at an amount of 600 million that is possible for write-off, but it has to be done on a case-by-case basis.
As a result of the company's poor health, a South African company, Global Credit Rating, put it on a ratings watch list in 2014. This basically meant that Mumias had a very risky credit profile and debt serviceability.
When the president came here last year, the company owed farmers 600 million. To date, we are told, I cannot confirm if that's true or not, that the company has received 2 billion. And as I speak, the company owes farmers 781 million. So we are wondering whether this money that came went to do something else, because we expected that as the 2 billion comes, the debt reduces.
So far, 1.1 billion has gone to farmers for farmer payments, arrears, and also other company arrears that were there. We spent about 400 million on factory redevelopment. The factory runs much better today than it did a year ago, but it's still not complete. That rehabilitation is not complete.
Before the government stepped in to help, the county government of Kakamega offered 200 million shillings to Mumias in August 2014 to help offset its farmers' debts. This money was paid through Mumias Distributors Limited, paid to more than 6,000 farmers. But considering how deeply in debt the miller was, 200 million was not enough. And in November the same year, the miller wrote to the county government requesting for an additional 315 million shillings to pay the farmers. This request was not granted on grounds that the county government is not a shareholder of Mumias and therefore has no business intervening. The county proposed instead to have a revolving fund set up for sugarcane farmers in the county, but this proposal flopped.
If agriculture is fully devolved, then why can't they offload those shares, even if they were to remain with something, but county government should also get part of that, so that we are in. But you see, because we don't sit on the board, some board members have come out and said we didn't see this money, brought about a lot of politics.
But the critical thing for Mumias again is they're heavily indebted. And so what they will be doing for quite a while is to generate revenues to pay the debt. So the case of Mumias will take a while to sort it out, unless a strategic investor comes on board and injects serious capital into the institution.
As Mumia struggles to find its footing under new management, its mills now only smoke twice a week due to lack of cane. But management is not worried about that, because as their turnaround strategy, they have set out to massively develop cane and reclaim all the land lost. The Ministry of Agriculture says the miller is now on its own, and whether it survives or not, the government will not lift a finger.
But it is clear now in government that the issue of bailout is not any option. And even the institutions which government would want to come and help, they have to provide enough securitization for any money which is being offered by government, because there is no free money anywhere now.
In its days of glory, the trouble that Mumias is in today was avoided because most of the farmer-related responsibilities were handled by the Mumias Outgrowers Company, commonly known as MOCO. Through MOCO, the farmers owned 33% of Mumias Sugar, but then in 2009, MOCO collapsed.
I was a member of the board of MOCO. I sat on the board for 2.5 years. While it always had its problems, it worked, and it was a great way of communicating to the farmers. For me, it was easy to pick up the phone and call the chairman of MOCO or call the GM of MOCO and say, quick, come and have a meeting, we've got a problem here. Now, when I have a problem somewhere 60 kilometers away, who do I call? There's no central body representing the farmers.
When you used to harvest cane, they would retain 15% of the proceeds. Part of that 15% is what we used to buy shares in Mumia Sugar. MOCO held the shareholding certificate in trust of all the farmers. All of us had one certificate. All of us farmers. So we owned part of the company. Over time, some stupid argument started that a share certificate should be given to the individual farmer. So people were given share certificates, all of them. Over time, people came and cheated them and told them this share certificate is just a piece of paper. You don't need it. So some people who thought they were clever, but in my view they were stupid. They would tell you this is 3,000 shares, let me give you 3,000. Then they go to the stock exchange and sell for 30,000. That they did. That is when you sold our birthright.
And you know, they had not been educated well about buying and selling of shares. So we had cartels that came in, and because of ignorance of the farmers, they made a kill out of it. But the farmers themselves were left poor. Sometimes even the dependents of the farmer would steal those shares and sell without the farmer himself or herself knowing.
Government remained the sole organized majority shareholder because it has 20. So the 80 is there, out there, but scattered. So bringing the 80 together to come and discuss Mumia issues is not easy.
It is a fact that it's a very hard company to manage because there are so many small shareholders. Yeah.
MOCO says that Mumias owes it about 4 billion shillings in cash and assets, a matter that is currently under arbitration. There are plans, though, to revive MOCO and work on buying back the lost shareholding in order to give back the farmer his voice. Mumias agrees that having a farmer's platform is key to the miller's success, and that it will fully support the revival of MOCO or the creation of a completely new platform. Still, even in the absence of such a platform, the management says that Mumias will be back at the top of its game by August 2017, operating at optimum capacity, making profits, and working tall to reclaim its position as the giant in the sugar business. Zeynab Wandati, NTV.